That's not what I
Hey,
not what
play
I
it
wanted
again.
to
Play it
do.
again, DJ. Oh, hey, get it,
No,
cat, cat, cat.
no.
Bum, 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 bum.
I turned my volume down. That's the problem. Good evening, League of Excellent Extraordinary Negroes. We are here to talk about the Wheel of Time. I'm Jade.
I'm Nick.
I'm Julia, aka the Last Starfighter.
I don't ever use my name.
Why not, Jade? It's so good.
I'm just the game master. That's it. But am I really? No. But anyway, sometimes it
No
depends.
existential questions
Right,
today,
we're getting
especially
Right.
existential up in here. Wow.
yeah, especially reviewing Wheel of Time, like
Yes.
in the
The way,
past or in the near distant future.
look, the way that I lose to this 11-year-old all the time, I mean, I'm beginning to question who I am because she wins every board game and it's getting to be ridiculous. But
Ooh.
anyway, the Wheel of Time. How do you come by the Wheel of Time, Nick?
Like, how did I learn about it?
Yeah.
So I went to see Ghostbusters, and there was an ad for it in the beginning.
There was?
And yeah, there was. I mean, it might have been like the preview.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, I was like, that looks interesting. Well, the person I was with was like, that's the next Game of Thrones. We have to watch it. I've read all those books. And I was like, okay.
Mm,
So
okay.
it was forced upon me, but I enjoyed it.
Okay. Julia, how do you come by Wheel of Time?
I came by Wheel of Time through you, Jade, because you told me I need to watch this. And so, Amazon Prime has slowly lost the streaming war for me. And so I'm not up on all their new releases. And the Game Master said, you got to watch it. So, of course, I did. And I'm glad I did.
Well, I didn't know anything about the books prior to the previews and the conversation about it coming out. And I didn't see any of the information before it was like maybe a couple of weeks before it was coming out. I didn't do any background, anything on it. And I was hesitant because it said, oh, it's going to be the next Game of Thrones. And I was like, that's the kiss of death. I don't know. Nothing's going to be the next Game of Thrones. And I watched the first episode and I was like, no. I was like in it. And I said, no, this is not the next Game of Thrones at all.
I think it's better.
But by the end of the first episode, I said, okay, I'm going to give this a chance. And I had to watch it a few times to really catch everything because I kept feeling like I was missing something. But by the fourth episode, I was like, oh no, I'm all in. This might be better than Game of Thrones.
Yeah, because Game of Thrones isn't that good. Sorry, everybody's like, I love it so much. It was just long and people watched it, but like it's
People are at home like canceling you in their mind. Like
fun.
Nick is done.
That's
Done.
fine.
Nah.
I mean, even the people that made Game of Thrones were done with it by the last season. Like, you got coffee cups in the shots, continuity, like they didn't even want to do it anymore. Like, they were just like, can we just do this so these people can stop talking about this show? The best way to watch Game of Thrones is to not watch it consecutively at all. I was in Chicago, and my friend and her husband were binging the whole series, and I was staying with them, but I was doing a gig at the same time, and so I was leaving and coming back, and I was just like catching bits and pieces of the show, and I was like, this is much more enjoyable when I don't actually care.
Okay, so Wheel of Time.
Silence.
The summary of the show. I have some things pulled up on IMDb. All right, so the series information. Moraine, a member of a magical organization, takes 5 young people on a journey, believing that one of them might be the reincarnation of the dragon, a powerful individual prophesied to save the world or destroy it. That's the summary of the show.
I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah, I didn't even have that much information when I started watching it, which was
Yeah, I hadn't seen
probably
it.
part of the problem. Nothing at all. The Rotten Tomato score for this show, it has an 82% on the tomato meter.
What are the people saying?
It has a 66% average audience score,
Okay.
and IMDb rating is 7.3 out of 10.
That's pretty good for IMBD.
Mm-hmm. I would say so. It is based on the books by Robert Jordan. Has anybody read any of the books?
I am in the midst of reading the first one right now. It's a lot of book.
It's a lot. Okay. How many are there?
I don't even know. It looks like that many. 10. So I'm on the first one right now.
The Eye of the World?
Yes, Eye of the World.
Okay.
And so I got annoyed reading the book because there's a prologue before the prologue.
Mm.
Like there's a pre-prologue.
Okay.
And I was like, why? There's a lot of world building that happens. They like do a really good job of constructing the world. And casting wise, they really did a great job of casting the right folks as described in the book.
Okay. So now the cast is probably the thing that got me the most and made me say, you know what, I'm going to give this a chance whether I like it or not, because there are so many people of color in this cast.
I will say real quick, Tony, no, you do not need to read the books to enjoy the show. The books provide a lot of additional context about where the people live and the culture of the place. And so it's kind of more interesting to read it afterwards. It's kind of like a filling in the holes that they don't get to address in the show, but you do not need to read the books to enjoy the show.
Okay. Good to know, because it's a lot of books.
A lot of books.
Okay, so who is in this? Who that we know or knew before?
Rosamund Pike. She is, like she's had an up and down career. Like she was a Bond girl in Pierce Brosnan. I think it was Die Another Day. And so there was so much hype around her, but then she sort of fizzled out, and you didn't see her again until the big hype around Gone Girl, which I think was 2014, 2015. And she was the girl, right? That was so well done. But then, we didn't see her in anything that caught fire until, Netflix last year or the year before. Pandemic years mesh into each other, but she was the villain in I Care a Lot about insurance fraud.
That's right.
Remember? She was blonde and was just magical in it. She played the part really well. But this, I didn't expect her in, but I think she did a really good job.
She was amazing.
I don't think she's done any fantasy.
I don't think so. I haven't seen her that I recall in any sort of sci-fi or fantasy role, which is why I was surprised that she took this on. I mean, from Gone Girl to this, that's a leap.
Mm-hmm. And the rest of the cast, like, I didn't know any of those people.
No. I mean, is it a leap? She's an actor. That's her job.
She looks so different.
Yes,
I mean, hair and makeup can do a lot. And so I think that helps to pull her out of the drama that I'm used to seeing her in. Because the hair color gave her something a little bit different. Because I'm used to seeing her, even in period pieces. So that I think the hair color also helped. But the cast is amazing. I don't know where they got all these people from.
England.
A lot of them, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, the cast was awesome. Yeah, I mean I think they got them through auditions.
I guess so. I guess that's how you make a movie.
But Daniel Henney was actually in an X-Men film.
Who?
He did X-Men Origins Wolverine. When they went back to Tokyo and dug into Wolverine's past. Yeah.
See, I wouldn't have.
That's pre-MCU, right? That's legacy.
Mm-hmm.
I've discounted that movie completely, so I would not have put that.
Yeah, it wasn't that great. But I think before that, he was just doing TV spots, right? Regular,
And he's American.
On Criminal Minds.
And he's American.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was born in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
He's adopted though.
So he's our Asian American.
Oh, excuse
character.
Me. His mother is adopted, not him.
Yeah. And
he is cute though.
So the guy with the red hair, who I won't spoil who he is. I don't know if we're in spoilers yet. He's from Denmark, I think.
Really?
Yes. He looks like he's got something else in him, but that's not what he says. Anyway,
that man's name is his name is Stradowski.
He looks POC. He looks POC.
He really does.
Where?
Yes, it is there. Rand is POC.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so, and then we also have my girl, Sophie.
She was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
She was absolutely amazing.
So she is basically like the queen, the head of the Aes Sedai. So who are the Aes Sedai? Anybody want to explain who the Aes Sedai are? Because it's a major part of the Wheel of Time, that their magic exists in this world. Magic is only wielded by women, though.
Mm-hmm.
And the women are called the Aes Sedai. But there is another group, and I don't have a picture of him, that all of these men that wear white that are trying to eradicate the Aes Sedai. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember the name of that group. So
I can't remember the name either.
Was it the whites? I can't remember either.
I don't remember, but I just wanted him to die.
Oh, he was so evil.
But good.
He was so evil and so good.
And
they're the white
cloaks. The white cloaks. And the main character from the White Cloaks is a black man. And I love the fact that he's one of the villains. He's one of the bad guys. There's nothing redeemable about him at all.
No.
And he played that character beautifully because I just wanted him to die.
Yeah, he was awful.
But he was beautiful doing it. But I wanted him to die. And I hope that he is actually dead in the show.
Oh, not in real life. I was like, whoa, no.
Not in real life. No. This is all pretend and make believe. Because there's a point in the show where it looks like he might be, but you don't see him. So you never know if he might come back in season 2.
Right.
I hope he doesn't.
Yeah, he was a scoundrel.
Yeah, he was,
to say the least.
So the Aes Sedai are broken up into different groups. Not tribes, but
I would say camps.
Okay. So you have
the reds. I mean, they're just the color.
Yeah, right. So there are the women that wear red, the women that wear blue, the women that wear green. I love the women that wear green.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And then the yellows, right?
And the yellows.
And what's interesting about the women that wear red is that they hate men.
Yes.
And they don't have warders. So all the Aes Sedai have a man that follows them that's a warder, and they do not have warders.
And the warders, that's where our Asian American character comes in. He is the warder for Moraine, who wears blue. And Moraine has but collected these 5 young people from this one village. So that's our main group of people that
The
we're
two
looking
rivers.
Yes. Two river people.
Yes.
at.
Because they're
Apparently aren't that impressive.
in the middle of 2 rivers.
I mean, you can't get much simpler than that.
That's one thing I really liked about it, is that like it was just like they red because they wear red, they blue because they wear blue,
Right.
they live in 2 rivers because there are 2 rivers on either side of them. Like it was very like that is my main issue with Game of Thrones, is that it ain't that simple.
Well, I mean, they're people's names, so they're house names. But
there is like, that's what draws people in, right? Being engrossed in those houses in Game of Thrones. And I think in Wheel of Time, being engrossed with the Aes Sedai, the different colors. Oh, these red chicks look kind of good, right?
they're kind of
No, she had a braid.
No.
Oh,
she was,
I did not. She was, you know what? In
fierce.
fact,
They're all fierce. But I do want to be a dream actor.
You changed your
Right? I can't believe they killed off the adorable, loving Aes Sedai. I can't believe that. By the false dragon. But we'll get into that later.
Well, the false dragon. So there's a man that has power, and in the world of the Wheel of Time, men at one point did have the same magical power as women, but somewhere along the line, thousands of years ago, they discovered that it would corrupt men and they couldn't handle it. So now it's just forbidden for all of the men to wield magic. But this man was believed, he said that he was the dragon. And he had great power.
Because he was possessed.
But he's not the dragon. But
he was not the dragon. We learned that. He learned that the hard way.
Yeah. And so what's interesting is, so Moraine has picked up these 5 young people thinking that just one of them is the dragon and has power, but they all have something special about what they can do, even though they don't know that they can do that until they're really on this journey.
Right.
Except, but she's like, what's her deal?
Well, she's the wisdom of the 2 rivers, which is essentially like a healer that lives in your town. And I mean that's her deal. She's been learning how to listen to the wind since she was a kid, and so she knew she had that power. She just didn't know that she could channel. So when they use their powers fully, it's called channeling. And so she just didn't know that she could channel. But I mean, she's always been the wisdom. But she even said it. Well, I don't want to spoil it.
We'll go into some spoilers here in a second. I'm just kind of trying to break down, what is this show? If you haven't seen it, what is it? Just some basic stuff.
Magic people using their magic and walking across towns.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So now, spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen Wheel of Time, we've given you some information to have, as you start to watch this show, that there's Aes Sedai, they're the women, they're magical. There are these 5 people, from the 2 rivers, and just a basic who these people are.
Are we boring you, Nick?
No.
And
It's
then
been a long day.
and then you'll get to see this guy.
Yes.
And he was magical. Oh my God, he's amazing.
I was very
Lion,
conflicted by his look, but
Black
I
Lion
do
people.
like him.
Black Lion people. I mean, that's all I know.
He's an ogre.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not what but what does he call himself? Because they're not ogres.
Agree.
Ogre.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're very wise people. He's very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
Very studied.
So not an unintelligent oafish kind of person.
Right.
Humanoid.
Yeah, he was awesome. He saved the day.
Yes. So Stephanie and Tony, thank you for being in the chat. It is a great series. I'm going to ask a few specific questions now. Okay. What did you like?
I loved that I could just jump in. I love that they started in the middle of the story. They gave me enough context in the beginning for me to understand what was happening and why we were there. And the journey began very swiftly. They dropped the first 3 episodes at once.
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of had a chance to watch all 3 of them to like get to that 4th episode like you were talking about, which I really liked. But I love that it was just like, it was fantasy for everybody. It's not trying to make you make a map of all the people to be like, okay, so this and this and they make sense, and they like, and they don't like them, but they act like they like them. It was just very straightforward and to the point.
And I think maybe that's why I had to rewatch it. I watched the first 3 episodes and then I had to go back, because you do start in the middle of a story.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait a minute, what did I miss? And it's like, no, I didn't miss anything. We just haven't told me all of the details yet. So I know just as much as these kids do, which is not a whole lot.
Now the book starts when they're like 9. And so you in the 2 prologues and the first chapter are literally getting nothing but exposition. You're just hearing conversations with their parents. You're hearing about the braid. You're just seeing them interact with each other. You're just getting a feel of what the 2 Rivers is as a town before any action starts.
Okay. It took me a minute to figure out that the girl that was a wisdom and the people that are wisdoms are just healers. They're not the magic people like the Aes Sedai.
Right.
That it took me a minute to figure all of that out, because I'm like, there's women and they're women, and all these are women, but they're not the same kind of women. Julia, what did you like?
One thing I like is, and maybe it's because it's not HBO or Showtime or Stars, right? That this was good, wholesome fun, right? There's no gratuitous nudity, like you can see in Game of Thrones. There is no like rape tropes like you see in Outlander, which is so rapey.
I had to stop watching Outlander.
It was just so much.
Yeah.
And you don't see that there. You had this sort of like loving consensual scene between two women and a man and a woman. Just, it wasn't overly done. It wasn't graphic. It was part of the story and seemed to serve a purpose. And I think, like, as we are sort of browbeaten with the disaster that is the pandemic, like, I think we all need like a warm hug. Like, and this show is something that people can be invested in and the whole family can watch. So I do appreciate that aspect, because sometimes I'm not up for it, right? That takes a lot of mental energy to absorb that type of content and process it. This, I think, was a great experience that any family can share.
That is true. And I think that's the one thing that will separate it from Game of Thrones. The kids can watch.
Yes.
Your teenager can watch. And you don't have to deal with sexposition where you're just like, okay, move out the way so I can find out what's going on. And not so much rapey. Oh my God.
Yes, but I love Outlander. I will say, like, I love the ethos of Outlander and how they've set it up. It is an epic tale, but after your main female lead is gang raped by a whole platoon of men, like, there's not much more I can watch. Like, her daughter.
Every major character, male and female, is raped on Outlander.
Even the male lead was raped in captivity by another man. And
they're not short scenes.
No, they're very involved. They're very graphic. It's kind of what do they call them? It came out that they're nudity advisors or sex
intimacy coordinators.
Yes, intimacy coordinator. Because Bridgerton, that's the first time that came up for me, that I actually heard from an intimacy coordinator was in Bridgerton, because those sex scenes were all about it. Like, that's why we like Jean, okay? Like, but again, prestige TV can go one way or the other.
I think that I really did appreciate, and I don't know everybody's name, but these two front characters, there was always a spark there, and there's, you knew that there was going to be something, and I didn't have to see all of it, but it was beautiful that these two people have this relationship, and there are other people that have relationships, and I don't need to see all of it. Sometimes, a little mystery is okay.
Yeah.
Tell me the story. Can we get to that?
Right. Like, just tell me a story.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful story.
Yes.
And there's a lot of story, and there is room for the story to be bigger and to broaden for another season. Now, I don't know. I know that there was some controversy about the guy that doesn't go into. Okay, so we've got
Matt.
We've got this thing.
So in the books, and I don't know at what point, I don't know how much of the books they truncated for this first season, but I do know that in the books, Matt does not actually get left behind.
Oh,
they all stay together through the whole journey.
Okay.
And so there was some speculation of like maybe something happened in COVID and he couldn't return, and so they had to like change things or something. or maybe they are leaving a doorway open to take him on a different journey, which I think is more of what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they just left it so that, because remember, he's full of mischief. In the first 2 chapters of the book, he's just like doing crazy stuff to people the whole time. Like, he's just a mischievous guy. And so he takes the knife from that town in the show, becomes possessed by the darkness, has to have that taken out of him. And so I think that they're setting him up for his own journey of like continuing to battle like
The darkness.
his dark side. Because that's something that Moraine said, is she was like, the darkness was attracted to him. He was just as attracted to that knife as the knife was attracted to him.
Mm.
And so he's got that dual darkness that he's going to be dealing with. And I think they left a door open to kind of deal with that individually outside of the rest of the story.
Okay. I think this is a picture of him as
Yes.
he is wielding the knife,
Yes.
being very evil.
I see you.
And one thing that got on my nerves, Rand, he goes through when they all go through, and the old boy doesn't come through, and he very clearly chose not to go through.
Mm-hmm.
But Rand is like, we got to go back, and I'm like, what? Why you got to go
For
back
what?
and get him? He didn't. He had the same opportunity to come through like you did.
Because apparently he's brown, according to y'all, and so we always want to save people, whether it's good for us or not.
Oh,
mean,
Lord.
I'm not saying he's brown, but when I first saw him, I thought he was a person of color. Doesn't matter what country he's from, he looked like a person of color. I don't know that
Got a
he's
little
not,
melanin.
but he, I don't know.
I mean, but that was his friend. I mean, a large portion of the series, they're split into these 2 different groups.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the books, they do a lot of building around those 2's relationships specifically, because in the books, those 2 are the first ones that actually see the man on the dark man on the horse.
Mm.
And so they kind of bond about that early in the books. And so
Okay.
they're set up as like a duo from the beginning.
Okay. The other people that I really did like were the people of the Leaf. Is that how you say it?
Oh, the carnival people.
Yes.
Yes.
I loved them, especially his locks. Look at his locks. That poor man. I think he died. That made me sad.
And the woman that is the main person of the Leaf, whoever their leader is, she's in everything. She gets so much work. She was Catherine of Aragorn in the Tudors, and that's my favorite role of hers. But she's in everything. She's a wonderful character actress.
Yeah, she's great.
And she did great work. She was, I can't even think about it, but the show where one actress played 3 parts, Sestra.
Oh, yes.
She was the mother figure. It was so good, but it's been off for so long, and it's out. It's out of
I know
my
what
head.
you're talking about. I just thought about rewatching that because I never watched the last 3 episodes.
Oh, so good, so good.
Because I knew it was ending, and I love that show. She was also in Downton Abbey. Like she's everywhere.
Yes, she was in Downton Abbey.
Yeah. The girl, Tatiana Maslany. No.
Yes.
Tatiana Maslany.
Okay, so it's Maria Doyle Kennedy.
Yes.
And she was in Orphan Black.
Orphan Black. That's the name of the show.
Yes. So
Tatiana is the new She-Hulk.
Yes. Which is going to be good. We have to watch that.
Yeah.
Orphan Black was so underrated. I hate to say it, but that was great TV.
It was. That, and I can't think of the name of the Rami Malek.
Oh, Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot. I put them together as very similar type shows.
Yes, but I think Rami Malek is that guy, right? I think that's him. I don't know how much acting was there. Like, I think that's him.
I think he was still acting.
No. Did you see him with Denzel? Same guy. Same guy. Without the mental health issues. Same guy. Those long, deep stares. Like, he did transform it for Queen a little bit, but still sort of introspective and just like,
yeah,
something ain't right.
Okay, and then I think my last image is this guy, who I don't even know who he is, but he's on the Wheel of Time.
I honestly feel like that was just pulled from a different show. I don't remember seeing that man.
I don't know.
He's in the Wheel of Time images. He's in the image reel. But there are just so many people of color just in the world. And lots of different colors, lots of different ethnicities represented.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. They're just there because they're just there. That's what I liked. Yeah. Okay. Anything else on the what we liked? It could have been better.
I won't start because I started last time.
I thought this was actually really well done. You know, the CGI effects were nice, especially for a TV show, not a feature film. I heard the budget was $80 million to make this season, which is like in the Game of Thrones type territory, right? So I don't think it's cinematography or special effects. It could have been longer. Like, they did really sort of chop these stories in half. And so I would have loved to see a little bit more character development. And that could have easily been done with an additional 3 or 5 episodes. Like, you could have really done up a whole season, and then we would remember Rand's name, right?
Yeah, because I don't remember any of their. I remember Rand's name, but I don't remember anybody else's name.
Oh, there's Rand, there's Egwene, there's Perrin.
Oh, that's right, Perrin. And Perrin, he's a wolf.
Yes.
But does he even know? Does he even know?
He does not know. He has no idea. He has no clue.
When
they know.
So when
seriously, they know.
When the White Cloak Man was, I mean, I don't know what he was doing with his back, like bald eagling him like a Viking or whatever, and his eyes turned, and the guy said, "Oh Lord."
No, he said, "Light be with me."
Light be with me.
Well, it's not.
I thought that was
Nyanaeve. You don't remember the people?
Huh?
I don't know. I remember their names really well.
I do not remember them.
They use their names a lot.
I remember the camps and those things, but I don't remember.
Oh yeah, I love the names. I would agree with Julia. Pacing. I don't know if I need 3 to 5 episodes. I can maybe do with like 2 more. I feel like they were like building us up in a nice pace up to like episode 7, and then they were like, "All right, y'all, we got to wrap it up."
Yes.
And the episode 8 was like,
yeah, when they were walking through the forest of doom or whatever, I don't know what that was, but the darkness, I thought they would have spent a lot more time. They got there real quick.
Yeah, it all happened real quick. Like I was like, "Oh, we on a journey now." And then all of a sudden they were where they needed to be, and I was like, okay.
Right.
And then they like rushed through the first part of the journey, then they got out of there and they had to go on another journey. It was just all very quick in the last episode.
Yeah.
And they were long episodes.
They were.
But I think that it shows you how much detail there is in the books.
Mhm.
Because literally no action happened in the first, like, the pre-prologue, the prologue, chapter 1, like no action started. Like we didn't get introduced to Moraine until chapter 2. And so there's a lot of exposition, and I think there's just a lot for them to play with. And so I'm interested to see what pieces they put in and take out and all that stuff.
I think I also really liked that I didn't know if Moraine was good or not, because the way that she let the boatman that whole situation, it's like I understand what she did. It's like, oh, but is she an evil character or is she a good character? But she had to do that. She had to, because the people were coming. The Trollocs, they were coming, and she knew that his son was doomed anyway. She had to get across. It's like, man,
the CGI on the Trollocs was a little rough sometimes. It was usually just in the moments where they showed like a group of them and they were like snarling.
Yes.
That I was like, this is bad.
It wasn't bad. We have come to expect a lot out of a TV show. You have to remember, this is TV. Like, this is streaming TV. So
it's not
MCU.
It's not Lord of the Rings.
No, it's not.
With all that money Jeff Bezos got, there are no excuses. He better have the best teams available everywhere.
They really did spend $80 million on the series. Like,
and now that I'm thinking about it, I really can't remember what the Trollocs looked like.
Well, because they all look different. Like there wasn't like one look of Trolloc. They were all just like large, big, gruesome teeth, slobbery, some of them like beastie people.
And who's the person in black with the face
face
and all the teeth and
I don't know what they were. Is that what they were called?
Yeah.
A fade.
Yeah, but they kind of control the Trollocs.
Okay.
It kind of made me think the Trollocs were kind of like under a spell of sorts.
And then there are the friends of
Rhonda. Don't be coming for me. I was just saying that the Trollocs need a little more work. I'm not being high maintenance. I'm just saying that I felt there could have been a little bit more. It's because it seemed to me that it was just like one person in a Trolloc face put it like hyper imposed a bunch of times.
Actually, I think that's exactly what they did, because I watched some of the behind the scenes, things that they do, and they made certain faces but different horns with interchangeable parts.
Which is fine, but just like clean up the edges. Just clean up the edges.
And I think that, in the second season, because now there is an audience for it and it did really well, they'll put some more money towards the monsters.
We love you, Rhonda. Thanks for watching.
But Rhonda, we have certain expectations now since, Lord of the Rings.
Well, I mean, there's actually a lot of conversation about this in the kind of like tech TV world. So there's a lot of money being pumped into these shows, as we discussed, $80 million. That's no small amount of money. That's a lot of money.
Right.
But one of the issues people have a lot of times is sound. They're like, it sounds so quiet, or like the music is so much louder than like the sound balance is off. And there are a lot of sound editors that like came together on an article that were like, hey, the reason that's happening is because we're not getting the time to go in and do the fine touches that we want to do. We're being pushed out of the way so that the other people at the top can achieve what they want to. And so I think there's something to be said about you know, those parts kind of like go into the wayside, the more artistic fine-tuning stuff. That kind of gets left behind sometimes as they're trying to like rush a piece or like get it out, or they have other priorities or whatever it is. So that's your fun tidbit for the evening.
And I don't need the monsters to be like gruesome looking. I just need some consistency and know what to expect. Do I need to look away or can I look at it? That's all I need to know consistently.
Well, it just felt like it felt like, and the one moment I'm thinking about in particular was in that final battle when they're at the town that's never gone down before, and the woman uses her powers and kills everybody with the lightning bolts. And then she gets used to all the power and she's like, I can't let go. And then they all die. But I think that they it was in that moment, like before the Trollocs charge, when they did like a pan across to show their faces, and it felt like a cutscene from a video game. And I was like, y'all done all this work. You've made this beautiful world with all these elements, and now I got this random cutscene of the Trollocs that just don't look clean. It just didn't look like anything else that we had seen the whole time.
That's true. And I am struggling to even remember what they look like, so that's not a good indication that they were particularly
anything special.
Well, and we always saw them in the dark too.
Yeah. And I think my last thing that I loved was the representation of culture and color in all of the costumes. All of the costumes have elements of culture and ethnic groups that are based in real world, but elevated and amplified for these worlds in Wheel of Time. And I love the colors. Everything was so colorful because it doesn't have to be drab and boring to be fantasy.
It shouldn't be, because whose fantasy is that? That's another thing about Game of Thrones. All the same color.
Now, the people that we'll see in the second season, the people on the ship with the and the masks over them and the gold, I don't know.
Yes.
So there were a lot of Asian and Eastern European cultures that were sort of outlined in this season. Next season, it looks very Latin inspired. I'm not sure.
You know, didn't the boat scene remind you of Return of the King? Like when they eased up from the back from Lord of the Rings.
I didn't get that.
When everyone jumped off the ship.
Yeah.
Is that just me? I was loving that. I saw it. Maybe it was just me.
Those movies too dark, didn't make it through them.
I didn't. I'm not going to say that because I watched.
What did? Did you just?
No, he didn't. He didn't.
You did not watch the trilogy? I can understand The Hobbit. Okay, like I can get through that. But Lord of the Rings.
They're just long and dark. I like
the original trilogy.
If I'm watching something and I feel like I need a flashlight. Like,
I tried to say,
can there be another light that we can turn on here somewhere? Why is it so dark? Y'all got all this money. Y'all couldn't give me no light. You paid to make it this dark. I can't do it.
I tried to say. See, Danny.
I don't know what to say.
I tried. See, I tried.
Listen,
to just
y'all.
no,
listen.
No, like you losing cool points left and right. Like it's a shame because that is one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Like
I think the
have this conversation. Not too many TV shows.
I think the greatest trilogy of all time is Toy Story. So we can differ there.
All right.
Sacrilege, you
So
are banished until
okay,
next episode.
All nerds are welcome here at the house.
Yes.
Not ones
Yes.
who haven't watched Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I mean, we're not going to say that because you know that we have watched it enough for 10 people.
God bless Peter Jackson.
I watched Fellowship, the extended edition at Christmas. That's become a Christmas movie for me.
Well, I can't just watch one. I have to watch all three. Like, I might be able to skip through the Two Towers, but like Fellowship and Return of the King, like it's all their extended versions, extended cuts.
I don't have to watch all of them anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore because I've done it too much. Okay. If we're scoring the whole season,
Rhonda.
what is Rhonda saying?
She said we need some standards in the house. Listen.
Everyone has their thing.
Right.
And
that's the
okay.
mission, people. We're all we are a big tent party.
It's okay because we'll have a marathon day when we get, back in space safely. We'll have a marathon day. Lord of the Rings extended edition.
In the fall of 2027, we will have...
It doesn't matter how long it takes. It's still necessary. Okay. What's your score for this season 1 of Wheel of Time?
What you got?
I would give it a 4.75. Okay. And that 0.25 is just the last episode. I just it wasn't a bad episode. It was just very fast. Like, I feel like there was this long drum roll, and then all of a sudden it was just over. And I was like, that's it. Yeah. But that's good because I want to come back. I want to see how they're gonna explore it more. So yeah, 4.75.
Okay. Julia?
I'm gonna give it a solid 4 just because I don't sweat the points after that point. You bring up a good point, Nick, because I was disappointed at that final scene. Like between the dark one. Like,
yeah. Also, he was just dressed like he was going to a business meeting. Like, I was like,
yes,
we've talked about this man so much, and he ain't even got a cloak on.
And like even the Fade looks like Voldemort with no eyes, but this guy, like, he just, walked off the street, said, "I'm the dark one."
He's just an accountant. Like, how do we even know that's him?
I mean,
and we beat him so easily. Like, I just feel like it was just like, I was like, oh my goodness.
Well, did he actually beat him though?
No, because you can't beat him. I mean, they kind of discussed that, like, you just kind of like put him at bay for another period of time.
Yeah.
Yes.
But even that was so quick.
Battle. This isn't the last battle. This may be the first.
That's what she said. Moraine was like, I'm afraid it was actually the first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they took the trumpet. It's gone. How did the werewolf guy let him take the trumpet? I don't understand. He just sat there. He was a pickpocket, or a merchant, whatever he was. Another angry black man. I was disappointed.
Yep.
Just came in and took the stuff and said, "I'm gonna leave you alive because
we need you next season."
Yeah, you're part of the prophecy.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
And he clearly knows more than everybody.
Yes. And I knew that from the first time I saw him, because I remember I saw him in the first, because he doesn't come back to the last episode. He's in the pilot and then he's in the last episode. And I saw him in the first episode and I was like, I like that guy. This isn't going to be it for him.
His bantering with Matt.
Yeah. And then he came back and I saw him in the previews of the last episode and the last time on Wheel of Time. And I was like, oh, that's him. He coming back. What he gonna do? And he was evil, and I was sad about that.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I have to go back and see exactly what he said because there was something in there that he said, and I was like, maybe he's right. Maybe he has some points. Because, people that are usually the bad guy, like Thanos, he had a point.
Well, that's the
His
villain thing, right?
execution was corrupt, was
Especially
wrong.
as an actor that is a nice person in real life, you often get to play villains a lot. And as someone that's playing a villain, you can't walk in thinking that the villain is a bad person because to them, they're just achieving their goal. And so I mean, I got a minor in philosophy. We could talk about ethics and good and bad all day. But but like, so he doesn't see himself as the dark side. He may have some valid points.
Is he on the dark one side?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
Very, very much so. And I think he is high ranking.
Yeah, because he just sauntered in like.
Yes.
I did appreciate that. The confidence in everything that he was doing, and and I'm gonna do this, and you're not gonna be able to stop it.
It was like he had nothing to prove, which makes it think like to what end is he on the dark one side? And how much is he trying to, like, how much does he have up his sleeve to like to try to flip it down the line?
Yeah. Okay, so Nick, you said 4.75. Julia, you said 4. I'm just gonna go somewhere in the middle, 4.5. Because the last couple of episodes just went way too fast.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have spent a little more time with Sophie and the Aes Sedai, just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like they rushed through that dark forest area. I was expecting a whole episode trudging through and battling demons and mental games and things. But it's like, oh, you're there? Like, well, where are the rest of the people? Because they should be right behind you. So I don't, 4.5. But it was really good.
It was.
I'm excited for the second season. The representation was beautiful. The costuming was beautiful. They said, and I don't like it when they say it's the next Game of Thrones. It's not the next Game of Thrones. It's a completely different type of story.
I just want, as we are in a new year, I'm going to send an open challenge to marketers everywhere. Do better than the next this, or it feels like that. Like, what can you do in your marketing material to not try to like lean on, like, sure, that may be the demographic that you're going after, but what can we do to not like dangle a carrot in front of them that's like, ooh, you should watch this because you like that thing. Like, I just challenge marketers in television and film, in the theater, to push yourself to just be better at your jobs and selling things to people because it's good and not because it's like something else.
I have to say, though, 90% of the content out there is old content, right? This is a TV show about books that have been out for how long?
Yeah.
I just saw a preview for Scream, okay, with Neve Campbell. Like, what?
Yeah, they brought all the old people back for that new Scream movie.
Yes, and Marvel MCU is based on comic books that are 60 years old. Like, they're not deviating in any major way from the lore of these old tales. Like, it is all recycled material. It just depends on how well they recycle it. Because it's all old. There's no fresh content that I have seen in a long time. I haven't. I don't think I have seen much new since 1995. Sorry.
But I don't mind. So in particular, this story, I don't mind a well-told story.
Mhm.
So if you have this much source material and you've given me a season 1 that is really good, then continue. I will stay with you for 10
Yes.
seasons if you continue to follow the source material that is good or make changes or updates that are also really good. Because I know I heard, oh no, that was The Expanse. They were talking about there were some changes in The Expanse that were actually better than the book. If you can do that, I'll stay with you. That's it.
Love it. Love it.
Okay.
Because it's better than watching Sex in the City at 60.
I did not, and I'm not. Did not, and I'm not.
No.
Okay.
Now Mr.
So-
Big is a dirty old man.
He
Yeah.
dead.
No,
Mr.
we're
Biggs
not.
is dead.
Yes, he's
In the
dead.
in
but
the show?
in real life,
Yeah.
he was accused of sexual assault.
Sexual assault, lost his agent and everything.
Yes,
Within
yes.
days.
All his representation is gone, and they pulled his Peloton ad, which Ryan Reynolds did. Which, you know, we have to talk about his like mogul status. Like Ryan Reynolds with his own PR and marketing firm. Like, put out. You know, he's on the come up.
He has found his niche
This
and
cute
he's
self.
riding it.
Yes, yes, and partial owner of a cell phone company. Like what? That long game. That long
Yeah.
game.
Absolutely. Okay, so next week, what are we talking about next week? I don't even know. There's so much out there between Star Trek Discovery, Foundation, which, Rhonda, did you watch Foundation? Tony Bagels, are you still on? Did you watch? Because I said watch Foundation. So good. We have to figure out when we're going to talk about that. What else just ended? We didn't finish Hawkeye, although I don't think we need to actually go back. Did you both watch Hawkeye?
I did watch Hawkeye, and you know, first of all, Hawkeye is not one of my favorites. He is like the weakest link on the Avengers most of the time. Like, yeah. I mean, like Black Widow at least is cute. Like, she doesn't have any superpowers, but she's deadly.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't think I'd like it, but Haley Steinfeld did a good job
did, and-
coming
and
in,
Yelena.
and Clint lives to die another day.
Yes. So next time we'll either be talking about The Witcher, The Expanse, or Star Trek Discovery. One of those three.
What's next in MCU?
Oh, and then Boba Fett is out. That's only
Yes.
been one episode.
Yes,
Boba
but
Fett
that
is
first
out.
episode was good. Ming Na Wen, like, okay, almost as much. I love her. I
See, now, Julia, just because you don't show up every week don't mean that you get to use this time to do all your recaps.
Okay. Okay, Rhonda, you're voting for Star Trek or The Expanse.
Y'all know I
One
got
of
things
He's
going
like,
on.
since I'm here.
Yes. Since I'm here, let me tell you quick, okay? Yes, get in a pad, write it down. This is the last Starfighter. She's told you what to watch, and that's, you know, so it was written,
Okay.
so shall it be done.
All right. So we've gone longer than we anticipated. And we're going to go
conversation
ahead.
though, y'all. This was great.
It was good conversation. And thank you to everyone that is in the chat, that is responding and having conversation, because that is also beautiful to see. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week with one of those that I just said. It just depends on who is available, because I will be here, but who else has seen all of those things?
I just love that our team is so booked and busy that we got a rotating panel. It's so special to me. It's so special to me.
Yes, because I know that Mick has seen it has seen the Wheel of Time, and I think that Marcus has too, but they're both really busy. So we'll get on their schedule again one day.
And I love when y'all let me come and play. So this is always good fun for me because I had like a horrible day today, and you guys always brighten up my day. I love it.
Yay.
I love it.
Also, 1883. I don't know if anybody is watching 1883.
Is that the Yellowstone prequel?
Mm-hmm. If you like Westerns, it's a for real show enough one. Tom Hanks has a cameo. He appears in the first episode. Billy Bob Thornton shows up in the first episode. It's good. It's real good.
Well, and
all right.
Boba Fett is a Western too.
It is a Western. All right, Nick, what you got going on? Where you going to be? What's going on? What's happening?
Okay, I just returned from Kansas City doing the SpongeBob musical, so I am back in Omaha officially. Next week, I am going to be in a workshop reading production of Omaha's own Justin Payne and Danny Cleveland's musical called Heaven Come Home. So that we might be recording that, streaming it somewhere, but that's what I'm doing next. Then I'm directing Choir Boy at Benson Theater. The audition notice just went out. It's going to be at the end of January. If you know young Black men in Omaha that sing and like to act a little bit, send them my way. I am in the midst of updating my website, so it has all the information there. But nickwhitcomb.com is where you can find it all. I'm also trying to figure out how to come back with my show. So I'm figuring it out. But until then, visit thecomeup.wickham.com and you can see all the past episodes. They're still enjoyable and they're still, unfortunately, very relevant.
Unfortunately. All right. Julia.
Julia Parker, aka The Last Starfighter. You can find me on Twitter at JJParker00 and Facebook. But don't expect
you're not on Facebook.
No, not really. I think the last message was, hey, I'm going off to business school circa 2019.
Yeah, you're not on Facebook.
That's the only post. So yeah, you won't really see me there, but reach out to me on Twitter, DM me. Love it. Love it. Otherwise, I like to play on the East Coast, but come home to my brethren in Omaha every so often, as I am now. Loving it. Hate the snow still.
Okay. afroscapescurls.com. Check out the calendar of events. The book club is going to be meeting soon. The 1619 discussion series will be covering chapter 1 as well. And those are both Thursday events. Discussion series is second Thursday. Book club is third Thursdays. And some other things happening on the calendar as well. But we will see you next Monday to talk about one of those shows that you are watching and we are too. Thank you. Hey, 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 hey.